96, you know, has to stay like that and not have a tendency to look past, you know, the situation. Otherwise, you could wake up one morning and while you were thinking about fighting for the world title, you let an Albert Rendon take you out of the fight as we're halfway gone here in round number 1, scheduled for 10.
You know, he's the complete package. I mean, I'm not trying to just stay on it, but he's a leverage puncher. You know, he's a real athlete, little guy, a great amateur career. You know, got a lot of things done, and you know, they don't want him to die on the vine. They feel like he's in his prime right now, and sure, they got to wait till positioning with the politics of this business where they can, you know, win a world title. If they fight for one of these smaller nondescript titles, you know, everybody else is going to drop them from their ratings, and they're never going to get that big fight that they want. And it's not just a money thing. They want some exposure. They want some opportunities to show. They love to be, you know, get some exposure fights. But you know, there aren't many featherweights that are going to get in the ring with this guy unless it's for world title money.
Fairly fast-paced first round. Rendon looking busy. Not a lot of punching power. Only 4 KOs to his credit. But a very good distance fighter.
No, the way he's built and the way he fights out of that crouch, he's very tough. You know, he's a very durable guy, and his style is, you know, down in the pocket like that. He doesn't give you a lot.
He's been 10 rounds or more 11 times in his career. Santos has been 10 twice, 12 one time.
I think what David Santos wants to do is pick him up, try to pick him up with some of those great uppercuts and then follow with the overhand right hands. Nice combination by Santos to finish the round.
Back in the corner with Albert Rendon at the end of round number 1. A very fast-paced round for Rendon.
Scheduled 10-round main event.
Bob, you saw their first fight, correct?
No, I didn't see it. But I can imagine what, you know, they said that it was a good fight, and you know, Santos hurt his hand after in the 6th round, I think, and then, you know, had to box, hurt his right hand and had to box and not really look to land to try to knock him out. And you know, I don't look for Rendon to go anywhere anyway. He's in shape. Blackie Ramon, his longtime manager, trainers, had him in the gym, and he's a very difficult guy to want to get out of there.
Seconds out, round 2. Seconds out.
Round number 2, scheduled for 10. David Santos, the USBA featherweight champion. He's in the glittery shorts. Albert Rendon, he's in the white shorts with the black stripe. From all previous reports, very similar to their first fight at this point. A lot of movement, a lot of action.
Nice balance by Santos. You know, you see him here, his legs are spread, not real far apart, but he's got, you know, just works that good jab. He works a jab, he works a hook off it, works an uppercut, a nice right uppercut that he freezes guys with, and then drops the right hands over the top.
Nevertheless, it would be quite an endorsement in a rematch for Santos to stop Rendon. He's only been stopped twice in his career, once by Tracy Patterson. That was way back in December of 1990. That was in 3 rounds. And he got stopped by John Lowy, who we've seen him, you know, fight for Cedric Kushner before. And he got stopped by Lowy in 94 in 6 rounds.
Oh, nice right hand by Santos right on the temple, and Rendon kind of acted like it didn't even bother him.
I know with some of my fighters, I once had Paul Vaden ask me, and he said, why am I fighting the same guy? I said, well, he went the distance with you last time. I want to see if you're improving. If you stop him, you improve. Then he stopped the fighter. And that a lot of times, when you have a fighter waiting for a world title, as I was with Vaden at that time, and I guess at this time with Santos, it gives something for him to, you know, to gauge. He could feel like he's improving instead of, well, you put in some other guy, I don't know where I've gone.
Right, and when you're trying to make a match for television and you say, you know, if you've got a guy that whacks out a lot of guys, you can use it as a, you know, just to promise them that they're going to get some airtime out of the kid. But you don't want to go into a fight with Albert Rendon trying to, you know, feeling like you have to stop him. And that's what I talked with Jim McLaughlin. And, the fighter about the other day. You know, sure, they'd love to get him out of there, and it would be a heck of an endorsement, but it's not like this guy needs to scare anybody off. Guys are already avoiding him. And Albert's, you know, trying to get some things done. There's a nice, you see a jab, uppercut, hook, all with the left hand from Santos.
Although as Santos' record bears out, he's not going to carry anybody just for the work.
No.
If he can take Rendon out of there, he's taking him out. And a good uppercut by Santos, just as I say that, with under 30 seconds to go in round number 2. We're coming to you from Houston on Rising Stars on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. I'm Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with Bob Spagnola. I'm sure you've enjoyed our show thus far. And this one doesn't seem to be letting us down either.
Rendon's, you know, taking what he's getting. He's getting those little hooks to the body in, but Santos doesn't give you much.
After 2 rounds, we walk back to the corner with David Santos. Doing everything that he's supposed to be doing and more. And for me, I can't help dwelling on it. For the interesting part of this fight is just going to be to see if he can stop Rendon, because I can't figure Rendon out pointing him. It's just not in the cards as we look at round number 2. Rendon showing a lot of movement, but there was Santos just dropped in that beautiful right uppercut.
And there's that right hand right on the point of the chin, and you know, Rendon just continues. See his right hand up in a defensive position. He's a solid journeyman pro.
Seconds out. Round 3, seconds out.
Round number 3 of a scheduled 10-rounder, and in between rounds, Bob and I were talking about just what it would take to have Rendon out of there. And again, he's only been stopped by 2 fighters, Tracy Patterson, who is a heavy hitter, John Lowy, not the heaviest puncher at all. I would have loved to see how Lowy took him out in 6 rounds.
I asked Blackie Ramon about that, who's had the kid his entire career, and he said they went up there on like no notice, and he was overweight and had to lose a bunch of weight at the scale. Lowy's a strong kid, but I don't think in the kind of a puncher of the other guys. Certainly not this kid here. And I see Santos is in there waiting a little bit, but as Rendon opens up and David gets him to do that, he leaves himself open for a real good, solid counter shot. That's what he's going to try to do in this fight, is leave himself open to some things. And, you know, because Rendon is pretty much of a defensive fighter in a lot of ways. If he opens up on you and tries to do some damage on you, leaves himself open. If he fights strictly defensively, it's tough to do much with him.
Well, it was funny. He was almost lulling Santos to sleep, and he almost lulled us not to sleep, but away from the action. I was very shocked by the sudden aggression by Rendon. He sort of woke Santos up, though, at the same time, and like you said, left himself open and paid for those shots.
But you see David Santos, you know, he had the elbows down protecting his kidneys and hands up, you know, protecting his face down in the crouch of his own. Albert got 3 or 4 punches off, and Santos was right there ready to counter and do something with him, and he did. Although he didn't hurt him, he hit him with a blistering combination.
Rendon always seems to be herky-jerky in there, though. He's constantly moving. He's like, there's some part of his body that's shaking at all times.
No, but you know, you give everybody those different looks, those different angles, and you're never there to get timed with a big shot. Nice uppercut by Santos. He's got a really awesome arsenal of punches. He shows you so many different, and he can whack with the left and the right.
As we got a minute to go in round number 3, this is again a schedule for 10. It's not a title shot. Santos' USBA title not at stake here. Good combination.
There again, you know, that's Santos gets down in there. I mean, he's really exchanging punches. He's not impressed with Alberto Rendon's punching power, and he's leaving himself open to get hit with some shots. But he sure landed some great exchanges, both guys here. Now watch Santos come out of there. Well, he always starts with the uppercut.
Well, it seems to me, Bob, that what's happening is when Rendon tries to go to the body, he's leaving himself wide open, and he's paying for it 4-1. About 20 seconds to go in round number 3.
Nice work by both ends, and the crowd here, which is fairly sophisticated, is impressed with it.
Ronnie Ralston spots some ice or something in the ring.
Pretty late in the round for the ice to just be falling out. Must have been deep undercover. Ronnie kind of a neat freak there.
Yeah, and I wonder why he could have waited till the round's over. There's only 10 seconds to go in the round. And there you have it. Somewhat appreciative crowd here for the Ritz girls. And they've been good supporters of boxing down here in Houston.
No, they really haven't. That's what it takes, to keep boxing going, is to have some people that'll step up. And there we see, Rendon land a nice 4-punch combination, and Santos come back really with just one shot there. Albert won that little exchange.
And that was the exchange that seemed to wake up Santos, but as I'd mentioned, every time Rendon went down to the body, he left his face wide open. Santos, a very good sharpshooter, just landed that uppercut, and later on in the round was landing profusely whenever he went to the body. Round number 4, we're on Rising Stars on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with Bob Spagnola. No knockdowns thus far in the fight. It's been all David Santos, though. Slight spurt, beginning of round number 3 from Albert Rendon, and woke up Santos, and Santos made him pay. That's Santos. He's in the silver glitter, Rendon in the white with the black stripe.
We're talking about what David wants to do here in this fight with Albert, but you spend a little time with Blackie, Ramon, and Albert. I mean, they know they're not going to win this fight. They can't really win, and he's not enough of a puncher, and he's not going to outbox this guy.
Blackie told me Rendon was going to knock him out.
Yeah, well, Blackie's thinking positive, but the point of the matter is for him to win, he goes 10 rounds with this guy again. Oh, nice combination by him. Gets a little overzealous there, but now watch Santos come out of there, because he wants Rendon to open up and try to land some punches himself. He feels like that's where he's going to leave himself open for the real good counter shots that he can hurt Albert Rendon with.
And we talk about the aggressiveness of Santos and his punching power, but some terrific defense there too. Now one of those shots got in. He just really tucks into that cocoon, although there was a nice right hand that dropped in just as I said that by Rendon.
Yeah, Albert, he loops about 90% of his punches, but he's enough of a pro that if he sees that they got their hands on the outside there, he'll throw one right down the pike.
Santos starting to work that jab as we're about halfway gone in round number 4. And he does. He shows you a lot of different, almost totally different styles. Like all of a sudden now he's going into a stick and jab move through a little right-hand lead. Working off the jab, which
he could do that all night if he wanted to, but he doesn't. He knows, and he doesn't want work. They want to test. They want a big fight, and people aren't going to give him credit for fighting Albert Rendon, even though Rendon's obviously come in real good shape and come to fight. He's they really want an opportunity, and let's hope that Cedric Kushner can get it for him, because I really think this kid's up for it, and anybody that comes and tries to fight him, I think it'll make a spectacular fight, for both guys.
Under 30 seconds to go in round number 4. Still no knockdowns thus far in the fight. Santos, the heavier hitter of the two. He's got 17 knockouts in his 25 wins. He's undefeated. Rendon only 4 knockouts in his 9 wins, and none of them necessarily household names as we come to the end of round number 4 on Rising Stars. Bob, as we look in their corners, not that there's necessarily any doubt, but I would say right now you've got to strut out for David Santos at the end of 4.
Yeah, I mean, I do. The last, maybe it was the 3rd round, Rendon seemed to, both the 3rd and the 4th, he did better than he did in the 1st and 2nd, but I don't think he's doing enough to win any of the rounds, but he's making it competitive, and the crowd's appreciative of it.
Blackie Ramon in the ear of Albert Rendon. And then we switch back over to David Santos' corner.
Good body shot by Albert Rendon. Well-conditioned Santos, though. You don't figure that's gonna cave him in at all. But you know, you got to start someplace. You can't, when you're Albert Rendon, you can't look for one punch.
Well, here we are in the 5th round. I tell you, Santos' corner was all over him, saying, hey, your eye's starting to swell. You don't need this.
Yeah.
They either want him to get Rendon out of there or fight a slicker fight. They think he's getting hit too much.
Well, I think, you know, some of that is he's trying to open Albert up by, you know, leaving himself there to be hit a little bit so that he can land some power shots on Rendon. But, you know, if you go and you box him like we saw at parts of the round, box behind the jab, you know, I believe he can outbox Albert all day long and never get hit again, but he probably doesn't knock him out. If he gets Rendon to exchange punches with him, maybe something will open up for him. I think that they're trying a lot of different things in the fight, and it just goes to show you what a multifaceted fighter David Santos is and what a very tough opponent Albert Rendon is. For everything that David has tried, Rendon has had an answer.
And I got to tell you, Bob, I don't care what they told you before the fight. They want to take Rendon out of there. I think use that as a yardstick of improvement.
Yeah, they told me they did. They didn't. They made no bones about it. They'd love to do that. And they said, hey, our hand was hurt last time. We'd like to get him out. But they also know this guy, he's not the only guy that, good combination there by Rendon. He's not the only guy that Rendon has showed his durability with. He's showed it throughout his career.
And again, Rendon's been the distance 10 rounds recently. His last fight, December, with Junior Jones. Been the distance with Darryl Pinckney. Went 12 rounds with Tony Pep, Jesus Pole.
You know, those are junior lightweights, you know.
Yeah. Frisco Areola. Ronaldo. He beat Ronaldo Carter. I didn't realize he beat Little Red back in August of '91.
Yeah, they brought him up to Michigan as an opponent, and Carter, you know, was, although a lightweight, you know, fought Oscar De La Hoya. He, you know, Rendon was just all in his behind, and, you know, the conditioning, Carter wasn't up to it.
Again, though, in losing efforts, he also went the distance with Steve McCrory, Reggie Turr, and Ricardo Cepeda.
I mean, he's fought everybody from bantamweights right on up to lightweights, and he showed that durability. And although, I mean, in beating a lightweight like Ronaldo Carter, who, you know, had an exceptional record.
Rendon started his pro career back in April of '87. He's going to be 31 years of age come October 22nd. Santos' pro career started in September of '91. Stopping Cornell Harris as we're under 10 seconds to go in round number 5. This is scheduled for 10. And there have been no knockdowns thus far.
There we see David Santos in the corner with Jim McLaughlin. He has been a little roughed up in the face there, Arnie. Some of those looping shots by Albert Rendon, who's also, when we go to his corner, you can see he's also been tasted a little leather in this fight.
Action from our last round, the 5th. Round number 6, scheduled for 10. Albert Rendon in the white shorts with the black stripe. David Santos, the USBA featherweight champion. He's in the silver shorts. His USBA title not at stake. This is scheduled for 10. It's been all Santos thus far. Unofficially, we would say he's pitching a shutout, 5 rounds to none.
But it's a competitive match. I mean, you know, it's there's ebb and flow to it, even though I don't think there's any doubt that Santos has won every round.
Referee Ronnie Ralston, except for having to clean the mat that one time, been pretty invisible. It's been the type of style fight where he hasn't had much to do.
Yeah, both clean fighters. You know, nobody's trying to, you know, get away with anything, and their styles lend themselves to, like you say, Rendon, perpetual motion, moving forward, even if he's not throwing a lot of punches, and classy diamond David Santos.
Santos starting to double up on that jab. Tattoo in the face of Rendon. Not coming back with anything, though, after it.
Rendon's not the kind of guy that is just right in front of you, though. He's always shooting different angles at you, moves his head, bends at the waist, and gets down to that crouch, gives you the top of his head if he gives you anything. His right eye starting to swell up from those jabs of David Santos there, as well as
Left
Santos
eye looking
got
pretty
some-
bad, too.
Yeah.
Some concern in Santos. I wouldn't say concern as much as, I don't want to say disgust either. They just figured, why does he have to get swelled at all? They were yelling at him between rounds. Your eye's starting to swell. You don't need that. Good right hand lead lands right over the top by Santos. As we got about a minute left to go in round number 6. Again, this is a non-title fight scheduled for 10.
He uses that jab like a fencer. I mean, you know, he's out there just spearing him and always on balance.
Hooks off the jab and moves Rendon back. Good left to the body. Shook Rendon, but a warning from Ronnie Ralston to keep him up. Didn't look low to me. Nice lateral motion now, and as you'd said, Bob, he could do this all night long.
Yeah, and he's starting to reach him with that right hand too. You know, Rendon, he's boxing, David's boxing, and Albert's coming forward to make a fight out of it rather than you know, stand in the middle and try and exchange punches with each other. I think this favors David Santos.
And I think you're right as we come to the end of round number 6. Well, can't help but thinking, Bob, that Albert Rendon's saying to himself, I've seen this movie before, and I pretty much know how it's going to end.
In the business that we're in, I love old movies, because especially the old fight films, because I know what's going to happen, and this business got enough surprises in it, as we see Rendon trying to work the body there as he gets inside of David Santos.
And he does have a pretty angry little swelling over the left eye there, and I can see
It's almost from those cutting shots.
Why McLaughlin's a little upset about it, because it's unnecessary. Why should his fighter have to take any shots?
For their beautiful ring girl. Round 7, seconds out. Round 7.
As we start round number 7, the last 3 have pretty much been identical, Bob. It's a lot of sticking and moving now, jabbing. Santos content to stay on the outside, really firing that jab. Every once in a while he'll come back with the right or he'll try to hook off it, but for the most part he's content to just tattoo the face of Rendon with that precision-like jab.
And if you can't get Albert out of doing what he does so well, which is, you know, those little herky-jerky motions, and you know, he gives you the top of his forehead, even if you jab him there all night long, you know, what are you going to do with it? You know, what does it lead to? It's tough to have it lead to something, although Santos did in the last round, landed a good body shot, but Albert in that crouch of his, he's really hard to hit with good body work, except for, you know, an uppercut up the middle, as opposed to you know, hooking him to the sides, because he's bent over anyway. He just doesn't give you a lot of targets. I think he's the kind of guy that wouldn't like it to the body too much.
Well, he landed that good left hook to the body last round, but I think also the corner's telling Santos they don't want him necessarily on the inside. He's going to get banged with the heads. The eyes are going to swell, and
3 and 4 jabs in a row coming from David Santos, but you know, Rendon hasn't slowed down at all. He's not right there to be hit with. It's not like he's coming right to you, standing in front of you. Now that David's, you know, really working the jab, Albert, you know, when Santos was moving from him, Albert came forward a little bit, but now that David's walking to him with that good double and triple jab, Albert's, you know, he's showing him a lot of lateral movement, not just going one way. You know, he's not giving you predictable things. You know, he works his way in both directions, although he has been predominantly moving to his own right.
well, Rendon circles, and he has a tendency to keep circling the same way, so it's like he's on a merry-go-round. very easy to predict where he's going to be the next second. Oh, and a good left-right backs him up into the ropes.
But you can see, you know, he's well, really nice combinations by Santos, uppercut and hooks to the temple of Rendon. But you can see Albert continues to move and you know, work him, you know, work that motion and that rotation to where he's not there, you know, for another good right hand by Santos. You know, maybe Rendon is slowing down a little bit
I'm
here.
telling you, when he was stuck in that corner just 20 seconds ago, I started to think maybe this is it, and he's starting to get tagged pretty good right now as we come near the end of round number 7.
There's a little nick under the eye of David Santos, I think I see. Not the same eyes that he got cuffed with, but you see Albert Rendon letting him know, yeah, you hit me a few times, but really, what do you think? You got something done there? As he comes forward and lands his own combination. Some macho from Albert Rendon as we go into the corner. See the little nick under Santos's eye on the other side?
And that's what Evan McLaughlin's a little upset. They don't want him to have to even go through that and get cut at all. They were yelling at him about his eyes 4 rounds ago, and now he's getting a little cut up. But I got to tell you, Rendon really did look like he started to visibly slow down. There was that when he got trapped in the corner there between rounds. I mean, during round number 7, and they came out of that exchange, and Santos landed about another 4 or 5 good unanswered blows. And that was when Rendon said to him, come on, I'll take some more.
Seconds out. Round 8 seconds out.
Little of that machismo from the Alamo City.
There you
Compliment
go.
of Albert Rendon.
And we're in round number 8. We're scheduled for 10. Non-title fight for David Santos, the USBA featherweight champion. He's in the silver glitter shorts. Albert Rendon, he's in the white with the black stripe. Coming to you from Houston, Texas. The Ramada Astrodome on Rising Stars. I'm Arnie Tokyo Rosenthal along with Bob Spagnola. No knockdowns thus far in the fight, but it's been all Santos. From everything that we've read, a picture-perfect repeat of their first fight, with the exception that Santos hasn't busted up his hand in this one. Rendon showing that tough chin of his. Again, only been stopped twice in his career, once by Tracy Patterson, the other time by John Lowy. Santos, of course, undefeated, came into this fight 25-0, 17 knockouts. Looking to improve the win column and the KO column. Right now, Rendon pursuing Santos, something a little bit different than we've seen the last 3 rounds, which was all a jab machine coming out of Santos.
Yeah, and I think that Rendon realizes, hey, you know, if I let this guy think that he's really going to come on to me with some real blistering stuff, so I better let him know I'm still fresh, you know, even if I'm not, and, you know, get him off me a little bit, try to get him back into boxing a little bit, let me back him up. It's just an experience showing in a fight. You know, Rendon, you know, the ebb and flow of this fight, he knows, hey, I don't want this guy just walking to me and letting go with both hands.
Rendon's most effective work in the fight has been a couple of body shots, but he's paid for it dearly when he came inside. Otherwise, it's been a lot of what you're seeing right now. Sticking from Santos, especially the last 3-4 rounds, an occasional right hand. Gets in close, that head really starts to bang by Rendon.
This is round 8, and I think that's the first clutch where both guys, you know, allowed it to happen. I mean,
and we had just mentioned earlier, we hadn't seen Ronnie Ralston for 7 rounds.
Yeah.
I think that's the first camera time he's gotten in a while.
Credit to both guys. You know, really, this is solid professional boxing, and you know, I mean, this isn't really at a club level. David Santos certainly is no club fighter, and Rendon, although an opponent, I don't believe he's a club fighter either.
Certainly a seasoned veteran, but Rendon going to be 31 come October. Career that started back in 1987. Santos' career started September of '91. Been professional almost 5 years now. So we come to the end of round number 8. Somewhat a repeat of what we've seen the last 4 or 5 rounds. All Santos, and a good overhand right though lands at the end by Rendon.
He's giving him some good advice. He tells me he wants to change gears on him.
Round number 9 is a schedule for 10. No knockdowns thus far in the fight, but it's been all Santos. But I'll tell you, if you listen to the corner as we did in between rounds there, Bob, they're looking for him to get mean, throw some left hooks, and come off those jabs that he's been throwing with some rights. They seem to feel that he can get Rendon out of there if he just puts something together.
Well, you know, especially if Albert's, you know, try to make something happen in his favor at the end of this fight. I think that's the kind of thing that would open him up to possibly being hurt by David Santos. But I think it's a tall order. There you see Rendon leave his feet trying to land the big left hook.
Right now, at the end of 8, unofficially, I've got it 80-72 every round for David Santos. Rendon hasn't even made one of them close. Although he's physically he's fresh as a daisy, nevertheless.
I mean, I don't know how he could be. He's certainly trying as there he throws that straight right that he doesn't throw too often. He'll throw 8 or 9 looping right hands and then one right down the pipe.
But he keeps coming. Still up on his toes. And you have to wonder, maybe the way to get him out is what Santos did only once thus far in the fight, and that was land a really good body shot. You got to go inside, though. Good right-hand lead lands by Rendon. One of the few he's landed in the fight.
Rendon showing his mettle here at the end of the fight. And I think, like I said a little earlier, I think it was the 7th round or so, David was really having his way with him, and Albert, you know, stepped in. I think he decided in between rounds, hey, I better, you know, really let this kid know I'm fresh, because I don't want him just coming to me with both those guns blazing. You know, otherwise I'm really going to have to earn my pay. Not that he's not earning it now.
Under a minute to go in round number 9. Again, the USBA title not on the line, so it'll be a 10-round fight. No knockdowns thus far. Santos looking to improve his undefeated record to 26-0. Maybe get that 18th knockout.
Yeah, he caught him with a good right hand coming in, but Rendon just walks right through it. I don't think this is any kind of a disappointment for Diamond David Santos here. I think it's just you know, another example of the mettle of Albert Rendon, and you know, the fact that he is a very solid opponent even with short notice.
Nice right drops in again as we come to the end of round number 9, but a lot more of the same. Oh. And Rendon opens up at the end of the round, and they're really going at it.
Excellent fight, excellent action.
Both fighters congratulating themselves for what might have been the biggest exchange of the fight. You know, it's the type of fight, Bob, that if these guys fought each other 10 times, you'd see the same show 10 times.
It really is. It's a styles thing, and you know, two very, very solid fighters, both of them giving it their all. That right hand caught Santos, but here's Santos letting him know, hey, come on, let's fight. You want to fight? I'm ready too.
Ladies and gentlemen,
look at it from another angle.
Is the 10th and final round of a terrific fight this evening.
Good right hands dropping in there at the end of the round, and both fighters congratulate each other.
Seconds out. Round 10. Seconds out.
10th and final round. It's referee Ronnie Ralston, who really hasn't had to do much other than keep an eye on them. Been only one clinch in the whole fight thus far. That's David Santos, the USBA featherweight champion. He's in the silver shorts. Albert Rendon, he's in the white with the black stripe. It's been all Santos unofficially pitching a shutout, 9 rounds to zip. Big exchange, though, at the end of round number 9. Otherwise, it's been pretty much what you're watching right now. A lot of stick and move jabs, precision punching on the part of David Santos. Hasn't wanted to get into a war, although there's been some egging on by his corner. Would have liked to see him throw a few more right hands and a few more left hooks. Has opted not to work the body in the fight.
Yeah, Rendon's a hard guy to work the body with, but I think that, you know, needless to say, this is the 10th and final round, but the fact that Rendon is kind of going right at David with reckless abandon, although he's, you know, there he moves his hands a little bit, but he oftentimes comes forward, but if he doesn't move his hands, you know, he won't leave himself open to get hit with a big shot because he's in such a good defensive position, chin down and hands up.
As we said between rounds, Bob, you put Rendon and Santos in, you're going to pretty much get the same thing every time. They're going to fight 10 times, you're going to get the same result 10 times.
And I think, you know, Rendon with a lot of guys, you know, you're going to get the same thing every time you put him in, and that's, you know, him, you know, showing his durability and his mettle.
We know that he got stopped by John Lowry because he took the fight on short notice. Stopped the other time back in December of 1990 by a young Tracy Patterson in the 3rd round up in Nevada. Otherwise, he's a who's who in terms of who he's gone the distance with.
We're trying to put a little exclamation point on this, and Diamond David, I know he wants to drop that right hand in on this guy and get his licks in too, but obviously he's pitching a shutout. Foot slipped a little bit there on this soggy mat.
And let's face it, somebody put that swelling on Santos's face, so you can't take that away from Rendon. But he's pretty lumped up himself at this point as we come to the 30-second mark in the fight. Remarkably, no knockdowns thus far. And my prediction would be that's the way it's going to go into the books.
Still fresh, both fighters here after 10 solid rounds of boxing. I said that was amazing. Rendon, I think, is trying to win around here in the 10th.
And there's the final bell. And maybe they'll throw Rendon that one. Both fighters obviously very happy with each other. They've been there before. Santos has to have a lot of respect for Rendon hanging in there. Last time they met was back in December of '94. Same result, 10-round fight. And by same result, I'm saying again unofficially, but I don't see how it could be any other way. David Santos pitching a shutout against Albert Rendon. Taking a few lumps in the process, a little bit of swelling on his left eye. A lot of swelling around the eyes of Albert Rendon. We take a look at action here at the very end. Rendon looking to see if he could steal around possibly. Tries to charge in, but doesn't really land anything over Santos, whose defensive abilities are probably overshadowed by his offensive abilities. Very good defensive fight. Every time Rendon would even try to work the body, either the elbows were down or Santos made him pay dearly, and after around round number 4, he decided that was a bad strategy and quit that altogether. Santos looking to improve his record to 26-0. Obviously not getting the 18th knockout. And we're going to go up to our ring announcer, Carlos Silva, with the official decision.
Fight fans, we have a decision. Judge Lee McGowan scores the bout 97-93. Judge Chuck Bertaney scores the bout 99-91. Judge Robert Martin scores the bout 99-91. For the winner by unanimous decision and still undefeated, David Santos.
There you have it, David Santos improving to 26-0. Judges' scores of 97-93, 99-91, and 99-91. So Albert did steal one of the rounds. Which one, I can't tell you at this moment. One judge actually gave him 3 rounds. I'm not exactly sure what he was watching, but we're going to go up to Bob Spagnola to talk with the USBA champion, David Santos. Take it away,
With
Spag.
the USBA champion, Diamond David Santos, after a nice 10-round win. How you feel, Dave?
I feel good. I felt I needed the 10 rounds, and I'm glad I did. Made a few mistakes, but that's what going 10 rounds is all about, is getting those kinks out before you get to the big fight.
No, I mean, we were talking about it throughout the fight. We really had you winning every round. You know, the guy, if you fight this guy 5 times, he's a tough son of a gun. He's fought everybody from bantamweight all the way up to lightweight, and, you know, only been stopped by Tracy Harris Patterson. He's a very durable character, and, you know, he wasn't really trying to win this fight as much as go the distance with you again.
Well, I would say a few rounds he tried to win. He threw some punches, and he hit me. You know, he hit me by mistakes that I made. I dropped my hands and I got hit with him. But him going those rounds, we needed somebody that can give us some rounds. I got him, and hopefully, from here on, we can get better from it.
Yeah, no, I know you're looking for bigger and better things. We were covering that on the air, and we expect those things of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Back to you, Sam.
Well, I'm not Sam, Bob, but thanks a lot. He's laughing. Of course, Sam Smith, our sometimes blow-by-blow commentator here on the Cedric Kushner Sports Network. And we take a look again, and there's David Santos. Santos improving to 26-0, 17 knockouts.